This is nuts! Sub Rogue Rework is bringing the spec to 2023 with awesome passive changes that make RNG a thing of the past, and of course actual strong DPS cooldowns that will give you the burst you deserve. Let's check out the reasons you will be maining a Sub Rogue in 10.2. Off the bat, with the new capstone, Shadowcraft comes in to bump some life into symbols of death. And to explain what this does, we need to talk about the rework on Shadow Techniques. In 10.2, Shadow Techniques will give your auto attacks a chance to generate 5 energy and store 1 combo point up to a maximum of 10. When you use a generator, you will take from the stored combo points and add them on top of what that generator will bring up to your maximum combo points allowed. What this means is similar to what the Feral tier set tried to accomplish and kind of failed, honestly. Instead of relying on RNG for your combo points, you get them guaranteed whenever you use your combo point generator, with a guaranteed mechanic to not let any of them go to waste or overcap. This alone makes the spec a lot better, but add Shadowcraft on top of it, and with it, Shadow Techniques triggers after 1 fewer attack and stores 1 more combo point, with the finishers also able to expend the stored combo points as well. This means that after you use a finisher, you will likely have a few combo points up already, which funnel into the next finisher faster. Gormaw's Bite is the other capstone that's new, returning. This is a cool ability, and it's always nice to see capstones being abilities. The synergy with your kit in general is actually good, and it promotes more uses of finishers, which I guess makes sense since it comes down from fatality. There's a neat use within Shadow Dance to generate Dawn's Macabre stacks easier, so it already works with 2 other capstones out of the total 5 so far. Big up for Capstone Party. Not all the cool new things are capstones, however. Stunning Secret makes your kidney shot cost double the energy, have double the cooldown, but stun all other nearby targets aside your main one as well. This potentially means a 6-second AoE stun. This is huge if it remains like this, since no other AoE stop is this long, with the longest ones being around 3 seconds. There are some downsides to it, of course. It's down road of Night Terrors, which may or may not be something that you want, and is mandatory to get Silent Storm. Not the end of the world, but if you don't need an AoE kidney shot in M+, you might not have a choice. Warning Signs is one of the less interesting additions. This is a choice node with plant execution and gives you 6% haste as a counterpart to its brother that offers 6% crit. With haste still being the weakest stat for subtlety, it's a pretty meh talent for something that should get you to play it. I talked about Shadow Techniques as far as existing stuff that's reworked, so we can hop straight into Shadow Blades. The rework to the big cooldown changes to making all of your abilities deal 20% additional damage as Shadow. Firstly, this is a downgrade as far as the buff amount is concerned, with the live version being a 50% damage bump, but affecting all abilities and not just generators is an actual buff. So much better to have less focus on generators for a finisher spec of the Rogue class. Secondly, it double dips into buffing your finishers by making your generators fill your combo points instead of generating 1 extra, meaning even fewer generators casted per finisher used. As far as playstyle is concerned, this is a major level up because Sub focuses on big finishers to begin with, and more power into cooldowns is something Sub fundamentally needed for a long time. There are unfortunately some issues here that the Rogue community, particularly Fu, pointed out. Shadow Blades will make Shadow Techniques over-generate combo points when Shadowcraft is talented, or force you to use inefficient finishers with fewer combo points so as to not waste any by over-generating with the builders. Since assuming you will fill your bar with generators during Shadow Blades, it's likely you will have stacks of your passive already up that your finisher will expel. As an example, using a finisher during Shadow Blades with 2 or 3 Shadow Technique combo point stacks will expend those 2 to 3 points into your new cycle from the Shadowcraft talent. Now you are faced with either using a generator that would have otherwise gave you 5 to 7 combo points to give you half that amount, or use another finisher to spend those 2 to 3 points and then use the generator to fill your combo points up. Perforated Veins has been reworked to now giving you a 50% increased damage to your next generator after you have used Backstab or Gloom Blade 5 times. It's also only a 1 point investment instead of the 2 that it needed before. And with this, I can mention other 2.0s that have been reduced to 1, which are Lingering Shadows, Deeper Daggers, Plant Execution, Improved Shadow Dance, and Shadowed Finisher. This is a fantastic design. As a comparison, in the old talent tree, you had 42 total nodes against the now 43. You also had 2 choice nodes, with now having 4 and only 3 total nodes that required 2-point investments, while the old one had 9. This brings the new talent tree to have 3 extra talent nodes with 6 more points to spend around, roughly. This creates more choices and freedom moving around the talent tree, although I'm not a big fan of choice nodes since they restrict synergy, but if they can keep the choice nodes to be between 2 things that won't work well together, that will be a good design. A nerf did hit the rotten, however, to all you builder enjoyers out there. The new one does the same thing except adding the additional combo points, which was the biggest reason to talent into it in the first place. With the current theory crafted info we have on it, it seems to want to work with Gormaw, which you can buff with perforated veins also, but it implies you delaying either symbols or Gormaw so they can be synced, which is likely not what you want to do. A few big quality of life changes, however, come in the form of baseline abilities. The ones I want to point out the most are Shadow Step, first of all, for being an iconic subtlety ability and never talented on live. This is a clear example of mobility slash utility slash survivability being a choice with damage nodes. Now you just have it, which is great, and also Black Powder is baseline. This will make building towards single target and needing a bit of cleave here and there feel a lot better and not force you on a route where you have to choose to lose single target damage or you have 0 cleave potential. That's not fun for any spec in the game. Find Weakness is now the first node you go into, and another fantastic change in terms of talent choices. Because of how the old layout was set up, Find Weakness was also something you would never go into, which again was weird since it was yet another subtlety core mechanic for years. The general talent tree has been improved as well. Featherfoot and Graceful Guile are now talents that increase your survivability and mobility, with them actually being options because of the new layout. Previously, your access to certain nodes, defensive ones as well, was limited due to how strong the damage nodes were and where they were positioned. Now you have more freedom and flexibility to even take stuff like Shadow Dance, which, yes, if you haven't played Sub yet, was yet another subtlety mechanic you would not talent into. Seal Fate is gone now and made an assassination talent exclusively, which will affect you, of course, making you slower in your gameplay. Vigor was made a 2-point talent, which now gives you a total of 100 energy and 15% energy regeneration, up from the previous 1-pointer that only gave you 50 energy and 10% regeneration. With how the gameplay changed for subtlety, this might be a mandatory node. Overall, the spec received big energy costs increases and energy generating nerfs. This makes the playstyle slower, but with the extra oomph added into the cooldowns, it shifted the playstyle towards a more impactful, bursty gameplay with big cooldowns that matter more. Whether you love it or hate it, this style of design has proven successful and enjoyed in the past and with previous reworks. With the current rework, you are likely to see a few extra buttons on your bar. Firstly, there's a theory crafted single target build which will take both Shuriken Tornado and Flagellation on top of Gormaw, which at this point is in all of the builds. Once again, cooldowns are the name of the game. Add the tier set to this and you have an interesting gameplay. The 2-set bonus makes your Eviscerate, Rupture, or Black Powder have a chance to summon a Shadow clone that will echo your finisher for 50% more shadow damage. This is of course RNG, and since Rupture has the best damage scaling, it would be the best proc, so the RNG dip doubles up since you first want the 2-piece to proc, and secondly you want it to proc on the right finisher. That aside, the 4-piece gives all of your Shadow clones a 10% damage boost and 2 combo points generated when they summoned. The clone buff also applies to Secret Technique clones, which makes the cooldown something you really have to think about if you don't want to waste combo points, since Secret Technique summons the clones with a delay, during which time you could cap on combo points if you spam like a maniac and you don't understand the synergy. There are some bugs and issues with interactions which will likely be fixed upon 10.2 release, but the rework is a freaking banger. Thanks to Fu, who provided us with a lot of information on what is going on with subtlety under the hood. The whole class received the rework as well, and we already covered Assassination in this video. A lot of issues have been fixed for Sin, and the Bleed Master is back with an extra dash of poison. Rogues do it from behind.